Welcome, movie fans, to another episode of Hollow Victories, where we're getting real. I am your host, Matt Presents, joined as always by my fat co-host.
Hey, what I tell y'all about coming in my shed? I'm Makal. No fake name this time, just a fun intro.
And today we're looking at cartoon reboots from the early 2000s, where the characters just come out of the TV into the real world.
Yes.
It's Rocky and Bullwinkle versus Fat Albert.
Matt.
Now, maybe you can hear it in my voice. I'm a little sick right now, so apologies for that.
These movies are so bad they made Matt sick.
They're actually two of the better movies we've watched.
They're pretty fun. I like these two. I gotta ask you before we get going here, do you have a history of either of these shows?
Not really. I watched some Rocky and Bullwinkle as a child. And I think I feel like I watched some Fat Albert at some point and was just, not impressed with it.
Mm-hmm. I really loved the Fat Albert movie as a kid. I rented it from, a Blockbuster video, and I watched it only that 1 week, but I think I told you when we were starting to watch it, watched this shit 7 times a week. I watched it daily the week I had it, because I really loved it. I loved the idea of a cartoon character becoming a live action character, and it was the first, it's not really that outrageous of an idea now, but it was the first time I witnessed that, because I was only 8 years old when that movie came out. But a lot of the movies I saw that had cartoon characters in the real world, they were still 2D animated, or at the very least CG animated, and nowadays that's the kind of the thing I'd appreciate more, but at the time I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool what they're doing here. And I think it works for Fat Albert, to be fair. They literally write the story around that.
Yeah, I mean, Fat Albert and his friends, they're humans, so it's easy enough to cast real people as them.
Rocky and Bullwinkle, I really liked their designs as a kid. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say Rocky and Bullwinkle, they're a moose and a squirrel, so it's you kind of gotta do them cartoony.
Yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle, I really liked their designs as a kid, and they kind of clicked with me the same way a character like Sonic or Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny clicked with me, where I just liked the designs so much I wanted to see more of them. But they were harder to come across than those other three. I would tell my parents I wanted to watch Rocky and Bullwinkle, and they wouldn't know what to tell me, And then this movie came out, and I wanted to see it, but I never got the chance to. So Rocky and Bullwinkle, I mainly know them from that one character on Full House that did the Bullwinkle impression all the time. It was one of their uncles. I never really got to sit down and watch the show. I remember I have a vague memory of it once being on Boomerang and me watching it. But yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle I was super unfamiliar with. Fat Albert, I never watched the show, but I did really like the movie. So we have something working for Fat Albert in this episode and something working against Fat Albert in this ebepisode. It is a childhood bias, but also Bill Cosby's in it. So, Fat Albert has an advantage and a disadvantage in this episode. I'm going to try to see the movie for what it was and what it's trying to do, and see that there were other people involved in the movie that, obviously weren't creeps like he was. But it is an elephant in the room. It is, unfortunate. What cartoon character you do want to... I think back to our second episode with Garfield and Marmaduke, where we have two, Garfield's a horrifying live-action hybrid. Marmaduke looks, at times, just like a regular dog, but at other times, he's, way too animated for the model they had. So, these two movies, though, Rocky and Bullwinkle, they're CG, but they're still cartoonish. And Fat Albert, it's real people. It worked in these two. It wasn't terrible.
I like the Rocky and Bullwinkle designs in this movie. I think I maybe would have preferred if they were 2D animated, but it was the early 2000s. Everyone was obsessed with CG, so it kind of makes sense.
And it looked better than what fucking Chippendale did in 2023? 2022?
Yeah, it looked better than Ugly Sonic, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rocky and Bullwinkle understood this 20 years before those movies. It's just make them look cartoony.
Yeah.
They look cartoony in this, and that's what works. I guess let's get into this one. I'll introduce Rocky, The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, 2000. So, in this film, the villains from Rocky and Bullwinkle find their way into the real world through, signing a deal with a movie studio to get a Rocky and Bullwinkle movie made. But somehow that does not bring Rocky and Bullwinkle into the real world, because I get like the movie doesn't get picked up, actually.
Because he hates moose movies.
Yeah. So then the villains are just like in the real world, but Rocky and Bullwinkle are not. So it's now up to this FBI agent Karen Sympathy to bring Rocky and Bullwinkle into the real world and drive them to New York City to stop the evil plot of Fearless Leader and his bumbling goons. Their plot in this movie is to make incredibly dumb television that, like, rots the minds of the citizens of America, which, there's definitely some commentary there. And of course, the characters have to go, oh, how's that any different than now? Michael, what'd you think of The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle?
It's really funny. It was extremely self-aware, but I mean, it had a lot of good jokes. I think that the difference between this and a lot of cartoon characters, especially like old cartoon characters, because we do that a lot. Tom and Jerry had one a few years ago. Smurfs have had several. Cartoon character comes to the real world in a live-action movie. I think the biggest difference between this and so many of them is that like they normally take the approach of jokes of the character interacting with the real world, like a fish out of water situation, where this movie kind of treats the real world just as cartoonish as Rocky and Bullwinkle's world. And you have a lot of fun because that Rocky and Bullwinkle don't need to constantly on screen. You can view the villains or you can view the side characters, and you're still getting a bunch of like really silly gags. Like, it's a very silly movie, but a lot of jokes land in it. It knows what it wants to be. It's having a lot of fun with it. Is it a perfect movie? I'd say like there's two things about it. One of them is just, I would have preferred if they were 2D in this movie. I agree with you, but I agree that the CG models work fine. Literally the only thing I can think of this movie that I think is an issue, and tell me what you think about this. I don't think I've ever heard a whinier character than Rocky. Do you know what I'm talking about? Rocky is so fucking depressed the entire movie. He is so doom and gloom the entire time. Like, every line from him is him whining about something.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I noticed in the movie where I'm like, this is kind of, you guys should have dialed this back a bit. But I don't even remember what Rocky acted like in the cartoon because, like I said, I didn't get to watch it a lot. So I don't even know if that's inaccurate. They might have been, like, very faithful to the show, but he is super fucking whiny in this movie. Other than that, great time. It's both fun as a piece of media from that time, from 2000, like, especially when you have shit like Keenan and Kel in there, but it's also like holds up relatively well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think this movie, it's corny as hell. Like, the jokes are all very, very corny, but that's Rocky and Bullwinkle. Like, I feel like it adapts the cartoon perfectly. So I don't really know what people's problem with this movie is. I think it is exactly what a Rocky and Bullwinkle movie needs to be. Now, maybe people just didn't want a Rocky and Bullwinkle movie.
Maybe. I will also say the movie does have like a level of self-awareness to it too. Like, they make jabs at Rocky and Bullwinkle while being Rocky and Bullwinkle, but it feels like it is coming from like a place of like just like a little bit of subtle self-awareness. It doesn't feel like it's completely shitting on the show. Like, it feels like, oh, we like the show, but we're aware of its flaws.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the show itself could be like self-deprecating like that sometimes. I think it's very in line with the show's humor to just like, oh, these corny jokes.
Yeah. And yeah, Bullwinkle was fucking perfect in this because his jokes were like either legitimately funny or like so corny that you're either laughing at it or you're like, this feels right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I really, there wasn't like a point in the movie where I was bored watching it. There wasn't a point where I was like really annoyed with a joke. Did every single joke in the movie make me laugh? No, but a lot of them did. Like, a surprising number of them did, and they get really weird with the jokes too. One clip that I see a lot of people post when talking about this movie is the clip with John Goodman as the sheriff where he's like, yeah, and I'm John Goodman, and they're saying like, no, she really is a member of the FBI, and oh yeah, I'm John Goodman. It's just like, what a weird joke, but it kind of lands at the same time.
Yeah.
They throw a lot at you.
Yeah, it's zany. It's everything it needs to be. I don't like this is why we say that we go for like poorly received movies and not bad movies.
Oh yeah.
Because occasionally we run across one that we're like, Now this is good, actually.
Yeah.
This is like entertaining, actually. This is what it needs to be, and I think Rocky and Bullwinkle is what it needs to be.
Really, what would you, like, other than, again, for me, it would just be, like, tone Rocky down a bit, because I do think he's a bit too whiny in this, but other than that, like, what would I change about this? I don't know. I mean, it's funny. It's funny, again, and it's funny even when the Rocky and Bullwinkle characters are on stage. When the one FBI agent goes to, like, prison for a bit, I think her and the prison guard storyline is funny, you know? I think they have some good, I think it's funny that he's still waiting for her at the movie theater at the end.
Yeah, and I think it's very well cast. I think it's very funny that the fearless leader is Robert De Niro and Boris is Jason Alexander. I'm like, yeah, no, they kind of work in those roles.
No, for sure. For sure. So, yeah, I mean, it's... I guess, I mean, I think some people don't... The only thing I will say about the movie is it is weird. It is a very weird comedy. You know, it's very, again, self-aware, very pulling from a certain era of comedy and animation. And I think some people don't like weird in their movies, which obviously I think that's boring, but I mean, it is a little bit of an out there movie. So that'd be the only reason I'd say people like, people didn't really care for this one. Just because it is kind of bizarre, but I don't know, because there's plenty of bizarre movies that get well received. Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know what people's issue with this one is. It feels like one person called it bad and everyone else went along with saying it was bad too, because it's really just, I can't really pinpoint it with this one other than just it being a little weird.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. I could maybe make a comment about the pacing, but it's like you say, there was never a point in this where I was bored, so It's just, like, you know, it'll get sidetracked by, like, the FBI agent going to jail or something, and it's like, okay, so maybe it's not, like, the most structurally sound. It is kind of all these random vignettes, but I don't know, I think it comes together in the end. I think it works.
Yeah, I agree. It was just entertaining throughout. There was a lot of scenes that that got me laughing. I like the jokes about them, like that the two villains having to rent like a car, then they try to get a plane, and then like as they're driving the car, a bunch of the people who let them rent the car show up with a bunch of paperwork like surrounding them instead of like the police. It's like a bunch of like insurance people. And like that shit cracked me up. You know, like there's just a lot of good visual gags in the movie. There's a lot of that's a funnier way to do a fish out of water joke too, actually, where it's like kind of combining something from reality but still doing it in a cartoonish way.
Yeah.
So I had a really good time with this. Do you want to talk about casting?
Yeah, let's talk about the cast, because I did already mention some people I liked. It is worth saying Rocky and Bullwinkle reprised by their original voice actors in this.
Were they?
Yeah, Keith Scott and June Foray, who's actually making her third appearance on Hollow Victories, because she voiced Granny in Looney Tunes Back in Action and Space Jam. So.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome back, June Foray. You're moving up. That's 3. Has John Goodman appeared yet? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
About Whoopi? It's funny because I was about to ask about Whoopi Goldberg, but Kenan Thompson, he's showing up in 2 in this episode.
Yeah, Kenan Thompson has now been in 3 Hollow Victories movies in 3 months.
What was the other one again? I forget.
He was in The Grinch.
Oh, yep, that's right. Oh, God, that one was a stinker. These 2 roles he played in these 2 movies are good. That one was a stinker.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen John Goodman before. I think this is his first appearance. I'm shocked it's Jason Alexander's first appearance.
What about Whoopi Goldberg? Has she appeared yet? She's kind of that silly. She's like kind of a cameo character, you know, like if someone has her in their movie, it normally is for the sake of doing a cameo.
It looks like this is our first Whoopi Goldberg appearance. It's funny that Billy Crystal and John Goodman are in this like a year before Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, this is also our first Billy Crystal movie.
There's other things he could show up in. Not too many. Not too many, I'd say, but
this is another appearance from De Niro. He's back.
Yep. Welcome back, Robert De Niro.
It's a lot better than his last movie, I'll tell you that much. He does great in this as the fearless leader.
He's fun.
Yeah.
Piper How do you say last name? Parabo?
Parabo?
Parabo. I mean, I know her. She's like a big TV actress. She's been in a lot of. My parents watched a show called Yellowstone that she's in. She had like a crime show that she was on. And she has had some movie stuff too. Like she was in the Cheaper by the Dozen films and all that. But I think I mainly know her as like a television actress.
Yeah.
She's funny in this. She's good. She does a good job as Sympathy.
I think it's funny that she's like secretly a huge Rocky and Bullwinkle fan and is like trying to keep it together.
Yeah, that's the best they can ask for. It had this movie did have like a level of self-awareness that like the Muppets reboot movie did, where it's just like acknowledging how unpopular this like how unpopular this product they're bringing back is. This like franchise is in comparison to how popular it was back then.
Yeah.
Obviously, Muppets has a little bit more ground to stand on than Rocky and Bullwinkle. I think more people are familiar with them than this, but
yeah, I do feel like the Muppets is still like kind of popular, at least as compared to like Rocky and Bullwinkle, certainly.
Heck, have they ever actually gotten a successful reboot? I can't think of a time that they came back other than this movie. And it's possible that it happened, but it went completely under the radar if it did. Like the show just
there was another Rocky and Bullwinkle show in like 2014 or something.
We do have the good old return of Squeak.
Oh yeah.
Or Dion Butchar. I don't know how to say his name. Dion Butchar? I don't know. Not too long after we watched him in Basketball, he's back, and he was funny. But he's funny. He's just got a good voice. He's got a very kind of like high-pitched voice that's kind of funny. But he's not in a lot of this or anything. It's a small part.
Yeah, he's just kind of one of the guys who follows Fearless Leader around and does what he says. But it was so weird seeing him in this, because I'm like, that is not someone I expected to make a return appearance.
Yeah, because we mainly just know him as like, Trey and Matt's buddy, you know?
Yeah. Keenan and Kel are in this.
Yep.
As Martin and Lewis, a reference to Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Just an odd reference to make. But I do think it's funny that, like, Rocky and Bullwinkle mention being, like, stuck in reruns, and they're like, that'll never happen to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's especially funny because it's like, we're watching a movie that takes place just 4 years later, and, like, Kenan Thompson, he's doing shit without Kel now. I know the two did reunite for a Good Burger, too, a few years ago, but I think Kenan Thompson's definitely the one who went off to... I mean, I'm looking at Kel's Wikipedia page. He definitely continued to appear in stuff every single year. He hasn't like had a horrible career or anything, but it definitely feels like Keenan's the one who went off to do more notable stuff.
I mean, he's been on SNL for like 40 seasons now.
Yeah. It's because he just fucking loves doing sketch comedy. Even as a kid, he was on all that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's just a good sketch comedy actor.
He's probably the best person who's been on that show in for a whole decade now.
Yeah. Someone else we should note returning, Janine Garofalo, is the studio head who brings Fearless Leader into the real world. And she was previously in Southland Tales.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember who she was in Southland Tales, but I totally believe that she was in that because it seems like she seems like someone who would have been in Southland Tales.
Right. All right. Well, there you go.
So, chalk another one up for Janine Garofalo. I always like seeing Janine Garofalo and stuff. I'm always like, what happened to Janine Garofalo? Why is she not in things anymore? She was funny.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she has been. It might just be, because, I mean, yeah, she's been, she's been in movies. It's just, every single movie, like, listed over the last decade is, like, shit I haven't heard of. So it's like, she's in stuff, but it's just not popular stuff. The last thing she was on television was BoJack Horseman.
Oh, yeah.
And that ended a while ago, so it's been a while. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had more to say about this movie. But because it is a good one, it's just a lot of funny gags. It got the tone down right. It was fun to watch. I mean, for anyone listening to this, I do recommend the movie because I don't know that much about Rocky and Bullwinkle, and I still had fun with it. I think one thing I will say is that Fat Albert. And this isn't really a pro or con. Like, this is like a pro and con for both of these. Like, because Fat Albert's animation, like when they do the 2D segments, is significantly better than what the show had. Like, I mean, it looks great, where the show only had a couple of frames of animation. It was like really cheap. Where with this, it feels like whenever they do the 2D segments of Rocky and Bullwinkle, which they do less than Fat Albert did, but whenever they do it, it feels like they're trying to recreate that cheap look. Like they're not trying to go further than the show did. Maybe like, oh, it's like, cleaner quality now, but it's like still very cheaply animated, and that feels like that's the point. Where Fat Albert, it's like, oh no, we're going to show what Fat Albert would have looked like with a budget.
Yeah.
But I kind of like both approaches. I like Fat Albert trying harder with the animation just because it's so surreal to see those characters with all those like fucking frames. But it's also nice that Rocky and Bullwinkle tried to stay closer to what the show actually was when they did the 2D animation.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I have more to say about Fat Albert, frankly. Like Rocky and Bullwinkle, good movie, solid movie. It's funny, it's everything it needs to be.
Yeah. Would you like to move on to Fat Albert?
Let's talk about Fat Albert, shall we?
So Fat Albert, released in 2004, directed by Joel Zwick. It's a Z-W-I-C-K. Anyway, released on Christmas, December 25th, 2004, tells the story of Fat Albert in his TV show. There's a girl going to a school named Doris, and she doesn't have a lot of friends, and she isn't socializing that well and isn't very happy with herself, like either on like her track field, where that's like her out of school activity, or just with like her social life. She doesn't communicate with the rest of the world that well. And they see a vision of her, the live action her on their cartoon show, and they're like, oh, well, this is a sad person. We need to go help her, because that's what Fat Albert does. He helps people. So he jumps out of the TV and enters live action along with him and his other cartoon characters, with the exception of the boy. And they just spend some time in reality and try to help this girl. They do a lot more of the fish out of water stuff, like I was mentioned before, that Rocky and Bullwinkle avoided, where it's them kind of reacting to the real world. There's a lot of scenes focused on that, but they still keep it kind of cartoonish and lighthearted at the same time. They still have fun with it. They still have all these vibrant costumes for each of the characters. And yeah, it's just kind of about them trying to figure out how they can help this Doris girl while also learning to appreciate things about reality. But one approach that it takes that I haven't seen a lot of these movies take before is that they physically can't be in reality that long. They actually really do keep the fact that they're cartoon characters into account more than most of these films do, because the longer in the reality, it's actually a plot point that they start to fade, and you see them start to lose their color as the movie goes on. And eventually it's like, okay, if we don't get back into our world, we're gonna fucking die. So they make that kind of a more dramatic part of the film. But good old Fat Albert still wishes to help Doris. Still wishes to help her get what she needs before he goes back, even if it means risking his life. And holy shit, this movie has a 23% Rotten Tomatoes. That seems like excessively harsh to me. Matt, what did you think of Fat Albert?
I think it's a little odd in some places, but it's a very charming movie, I think.
I think so too. I think it's very cute.
I think Kenan Thompson is perfect as Fat Albert, and that's the clear highlight of the movie. But I mean, all the other, like, Fat Albert characters in this are also pretty well done.
Yeah, both performance-wise and costume-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's funny that, like, as the film goes on, they start, as they spend more time in the real world, they, like, start losing their more cartoony features.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mushmouth starts speaking clearly, and like the dumb one can read, and he has a face now.
Yeah, I will say in that sense, it does feel like they didn't know what to do with every single one of them, because some of them it's just like, oh yeah, we also like the real world now. But there were like a few characters where they were able to pick like a specific trope out with them. Most notably, the one who couldn't talk and the one who didn't have a face on the show.
Yeah, it is. Like, I thought it was such a weird setup that, like, this one girl crying was enough that they were like, oh, I'm gonna go into the real world. And they do justify that later in a really awkward scene for more reasons than one. It's because Fat Albert goes to meet Bill Cosby, and it feels awkward and out of nowhere, but at the same time, it explains an essential part of the plot, which is that, like, Fat Albert was based on Doris's grandfather. So That's why he cared about. That's why he could hear her crying through the TV screen.
Made a specific connection, yeah. If Bill Cosby didn't do what he did, we could kind of just appreciate this as a nice tribute to his friend, and I think to some extent you still can, because it's not like his, the way the story goes, it's not like his friend did anything. It's not like the rest of the guys that he was friends with that these characters are based on did anything. Bill Cosby did something. And I can understand this movie still meaning something to a lot of people, and I can understand these characters still meaning a lot to people. I wish that Bill himself wasn't there. Because I think that scene is really sweet, and I think the ending scene where they're all at Albert's grave is also really sweet. I really enjoy those scenes. It's a outdated fish out of fish. I'm saying the wrong term. It's an outdated elephant in the room moment where it's like, yeah, fuck. Like I want to ignore it, but it's hard to ignore it. It's pretty fucking jarring.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be it's supposed to be really sentimental. It's supposed to be really sweet. And I almost feel like it would be a lot less awkward if Bill Cosby just wasn't there, because he doesn't have to be in the movie for this to work still. But also, if it wasn't so, like, sweet and sentimental, because I feel like I could even just ignore it easier if it was Bill Cosby just being silly in a movie, if it was just him being a comedian in a movie, because, I mean, God, we've definitely watched movies before with, like, actors who have done bad things,
Yeah.
Where we're not thinking about it as much, because this movie brings as much attention to it as possible, unintentionally, of course, but, yeah, fuck, it's just like, God damn, dude, I know, in 2004, this is sweet, and 2026, it's like, I know what you fucking did.
Yeah.
And it sucks. That's the huge disadvantage that Fat Albert is on to me. I think a 23%, because they definitely got that score before anything about Bill Cosby came out. I think that's outrageous. I think this is a very charming, likable movie. Is it as funny as Rocky and Bullwinkle, and is it as focused as well as Rocky and Bullwinkle? I don't know. I wouldn't go there. But I think it does a lot right, and I think that because it has that sentimental side, I could imagine it means a lot more to people than Rocky and Bullwinkle does.
Sure. I mean, I think it's maybe worth acknowledging Fat Albert was like one of the very first cartoons for black audiences.
Yeah.
It was one of the very first black cartoons, black-centric cartoons.
Which makes it ironic that only white kids recognize them.
That's an odd thing in this movie, that, like, kids recognize the Fat Albert characters. And it's like, I'm sorry, how many kids in 2004 were, like, sitting around watching Fat Albert?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bizarre, but it's also like, I get it. They have to... They're a little bit self-aware. They're not as self-aware as Rocky and Bullwinkle was.
Yeah, no, like, Rocky and Bullwinkle was prepared to acknowledge that Rocky and Bullwinkle was not exactly popular. And I feel like this makes Fat Albert out to be a lot more popular than it was. Also, like you mentioned, the animation is, like, way better in this than in Fat Albert.
Oh yeah, it looks wonderful. Honestly, I think it's like really good animation. At least the character animation. I also think it's worth noting that, like, Rocky and Bullwinkle, like, they make a lot of jokes about the cheapness of the show. Where Fat Albert, it feels like they're doing that at first, because, like, they're saying, like, when did you guys get in here? Like, oh, I don't know, we never really think about it, we just appear. And that is, like, a funny joke about how, because of their animation budget, they would often have the characters just appear in a room. They wouldn't have, like, a scene of them walking in, because, of course, making them all walk. It's just, but, to give them a little bit of credit, there's a lot of characters there, and making them all walk would definitely cost something. It wasn't just making one character walk into a room, it was making a fucking crowd of people walk into a room. But yeah, they would, I guess that, even without watching Fat Albert, I can tell that's what the joke is supposed to be. But they don't really stick to that. Most of the jokes they make about the show is them saying, like, well, the writers didn't tell us to do it. And I actually think that's a really bad joke. I don't think they should know that people are writing for them. Like, I don't think that's a good self-deprecation joke. I think the joke about them appearing in the rooms randomly is funny, but I think them saying, like, oh, we can't drink unless the writers tell us we're thirsty. It's like, what? Like, I get what you're trying to do here, but that doesn't work. And they do that joke a couple of times. They do it, like, throughout the movie.
Yeah, like, they don't eat. These kids, they don't... Yeah, while they are in the real world, they never eat anything.
They're trying to do jokes about something they're not, like, fully committed to making jokes about, I feel is what it is.
Yeah.
Because Rocky and Bullwinkle felt very focused on what's on the table to make fun of, and this movie it just kind of felt like, okay, we've already self-deprecated enough. We're just gonna kind of make writer jokes now, and it's like, it doesn't work as well. It's not specific enough. You could say that about any cartoon.
I feel like I recognize the animation style in this. Like, I feel like I have seen other movies that are animated this way.
Yeah, look up the animation studio.
I couldn't quite place it.
It is Sherman Oaks Warner Brothers Animation.
Yeah, hold on.
Let me look them up. The issue is, like, I typed in that one specifically, and now they're giving me stuff like Iron Giant, but is that just because it was Warner Brothers, or was that specifically...
Well, Iron Giant was one of the things I was kind of thinking of.
Okay.
I'm like, this kind of looks like Iron Giant.
Space Jam showed up specifically, and Osmosis Jones, which... Osmosis Jones kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, Osmosis Jones.
Which I honestly could be talked about on the show. I think that movie wasn't very well received, was it?
I don't know.
55. I think we've done. I think that would work. I think we could do it.
Anyways, do you want to talk about the cast of this movie?
Yeah, let's do it. You mentioned Kenan Thompson already. He's pretty... I mean, honest to God, the cast is pretty solid in this movie. Kenan Thompson is the best part, I'd say. Like, he just has, like... He not only can do the voice really well, but he's so likable.
Yeah. I think a big part of what works about this movie is how likable he is in the lead.
Yeah, he really does, because, like, I feel like there's scenes where, like, again, like, they do the big musical number scene where they have to do, like, Gonna Have a Good Time, but more of, like, a hip-hop version of it. But it's a lot less painful than a lot of other movies that try this. I think it's really just because of how authentic he comes off during that scene. Because, Bully's trying to fuck with him, and then he jumps in and he does it, and he's not, like, trying to be cool, he's just trying to be sincere.
Yeah, I think Fat Albert is one of the... I think this is one of the most justified reboot an old character and have them do a rap number that I have ever seen. I will say the ending where he's, like, skateboarding home was kind of... I'm like, okay, come on now.
Yeah, I'll side with you on that.
Trying too hard to be cool.
Especially with the way they had to shoot it, you know, like they had to, like, you don't ever see him doing anything cool on the skateboard. Like, even if Kenan Thompson could do it, he could not do it in that costume.
No. Kayla Pratt as Doris.
She does fine. She doesn't get to be as fun as the other characters, but she does fine.
Yeah.
She's sympathetic enough. That's the thing, though. She's a character that's meant to be sympathetic. That's like kind of the height of her character.
She's Penny Proud on The Proud Family.
Yeah.
She's also in Barney's Great Adventure, a movie that is, for some reason, shot like a horror film.
I've heard people say that before. Maybe I heard you say that.
Probably it was me. Then there's... I guess we should address this. There's like a romance between Fat Albert and her adoptive sister, Lori, but it's still like... Okay, but he's kinda supposed to be their grandfather. Like, I know she's adoptive, but like...
It feels like they weren't thinking about weird. That. It is weird. It feels like an oversight. Like, obvious, I don't think they were, like, intentionally doing anything weird there, but yeah, it's a bit of an oversight. Like, yeah, he's based on the grandfather. He shouldn't be having romantic feelings for either of those two. Maybe someone pointed that out when they were working on the movie, and they were just like, nah, you're overthinking it. Well, they weren't overthinking it because we're talking about it right now. but it doesn't. I don't think it completely ruins the movie or makes, like, you know, it definitely doesn't do the same harm that just Bill Cosby being present does. But it is like, yeah, it's a little weird.
I'm sorry, I was going down the cast. Fucking Aaron Carter is in this movie. The I Want Candy kid. Who did, It's Jimmy Neutron Time. That was him also.
Okay.
I made part 1 of my Jimmy Neutron video and was kind of shit-talking him. And then in between that coming out and me releasing, like, the uncut, like, all 4 parts put together, he died?
Oh.
And I came in and was like, hey, when I recorded this, he was still alive, so,
right.
Rest in peace, I guess.
I was gonna say, is he the one who's, like, really, like, simping for Reggie in the movie? But no, it's, like, someone right next to him on the cast, and J. Max Slaughter Jr., who looks just fucking like him, like, same spiked up hair in the picture and everything.
This is the only movie he is in.
And Reggie, O'Marion, I guess is his name.
Yeah.
It's like a stage name because he doesn't have a last name.
He was in the Proud Family movie, at least.
He's exceptionally lame in this movie. Like, he's a villain who never fucking does anything.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of hilarious how lame he is as, like, an antagonist. He's always trying to, like, show up Fat Albert, and Fat Albert is just like, okay. And then, like, totally owns him every time.
Like, he never succeeds at making a character insecure, and he also, like, his opening scene is him getting rejected twice. and then at the end, he sees, like, oh, he's from the cartoon world. Well, and it looks like, oh, they got a plan now. They're raising their eyebrows. We're going to do something. And then it's solved immediately by Fat Albert saying, like, hey, get out of our way. And that's it. Like, he is the worst fucking villain in Hollow Victories history. He accomplishes nothing. He might as well have not even been there. He doesn't leave a scratch on anyone in this movie.
I think he's funny.
It is funny. It is really funny. It's just like, he's a villain who's like constantly screaming into the void, you know? But he does have his buddy Arthur, who seems to love him a lot.
Yeah. I liked all the other Cosby kids as well. I think they were all well cast.
They all were well cast. They all have like charisma. They're all funny. It is hard to talk about them each individually because they are all kind of paired together the whole movie. I will say Jermaine Williams as Mushmouth is kind of funny because he has to kind of do this like fake talking thing for the first half of the movie, but then he is able to like kind of speak full sentences and even sing near the end. Like, that was pretty fun. But then the other two, because then there's like two other characters that stay in the real world with Fat Albert during the final act, and one of them is just there to kind of be a love interest for Doris, and the other one he's just kind of the one who's like speaking like reasonably the whole time. Like, he's just kind of the voice of reason character. There's not much to him other than that. He's the voice of reason, and he has the little brother. But he's just kind of there to explain things to everybody.
Yeah.
And he's fine. He's not bad. It's just, in fact, he stands out a little bit more because they gave him so much more lines, but that is kind of his role. Anyone else worth bringing up? Raven Simone is in the movie. I didn't even recognize that. I don't remember her showing up, but she's in the casting.
She did a voice. She's the girl from she's Danielle, the girl from the Fat Albert cartoon.
That makes sense. Has she ever been on the show before?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. No, she hasn't. I mean, she hasn't done that many movies, actually. I think she's another one where she's more of a TV actor.
Yeah. Can we talk about how Doris's parents just, like, don't show up at all in this movie?
They're just out of town, so the movie takes place over the course of 3 days, so I guess the out-of-town excuse is enough for them to drop them for the rest of the movie, right?
No, it's like, okay, they're out of town, that's an excuse for them to not be here today. And then they just never come back.
I guess that's where they wanted to go. If they're just like, I don't really want to do anything with the parents. Let's just give a reason they're not here. Like, just really early on, it feels like they're like, we're not fucking with the parents. We're not doing anything with them. That's just gonna. And to be fair, I think that would have probably just added like a scene in the movie that we don't care about if they were there. So I don't blame them for not including them.
Yeah. If there's anyone else in the cast worth mentioning, it's Jeff Garlin, who. He has the scene where they're like, oh, what is that you're talking into? And he's like, it's a phone. And they're like, but it doesn't have a cord. But he's done some, like, voice work over the years. He's the captain in WALL-E.
Okay.
The fat captain. I said to you, the place I recognize him from, of course, the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour 3.
Yeah.
He's the villain whose name isn't Shirley.
Farnsworth Bentley as the salesman. His scene kind of made me laugh, where he's just trying to get, like, Albert and all these different clothes. That's definitely one of the more fish out of water scenes, like I was talking about earlier. But then he's like, he just, like, says, I'm gonna give you a free hat. And then Fat Albert has that free hat on him for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I do think it's funny that he has the hat on him for, like, the entire rest of the movie. But I also, like, when that scene started, I'm like, the punchline is going to be that they don't have money, right?
Yeah.
Like, I saw that one coming from a mile away.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy joke to see, but I like it, but they got something funny out of it.
I mean, the whole seeing Fat Albert dress up montage was kind of fun.
It's kind of just fun to see what clothes fit on him, because some of the outfits were like, because he always had to have the red shirt on and pants on. and some of them covered it up well, and then others it was like the red shirt was still very present. So that was kind of
I will say it's an odd detail that they keep being like, oh, we're fading out throughout the movie, and you can tell more at the end, but
Yeah.
like early on, I'm looking at them and I'm like, I can't really tell the difference.
They were maybe a little too subtle with that, because I do think that if you like compared and contrast, you'd be able to tell. But it's like it's hard to it isn't until like the fourth time they bring it up that you can really start to tell that it's happening. I think I could tell a little bit more just because I knew it was coming, because I remember the movie as a kid. And by the final scene with Fat Albert on the track field, he's very faded.
Yeah.
I always thought that scene was cool as a kid. I like how like faded he was and how like weak he was, but he's still there on the field trying to push forward. I kind of have like I had a little bit of a Mandela effect there, because in my memory he was like he did the entire run with her, like he ran with her the entire time, and then she made it across. But no, he only like runs onto the field for like 5 seconds. I might be remembering the scene earlier where he raced Reggie.
It's kind of a funny scene.
They even do bad green screen, but it's bad. It's like in a scene where it actually works.
Have we made it to the end? Are we ready to vote?
Yeah, we are.
I guess you get first vote?
There's a part of me that really wants to give it to Fat Albert as both a movie I grew up with and a movie that has a lot of like heart in it. But I think more consistently Rocky and Bullwinkle just like kind of constantly nailed what it needed to be. And I'd be lying if I said I thought Fat Albert was a better movie. There's part of my soul that wants to say Fat Albert is the better movie, but I also want to be honest. And Rocky and Bullwinkle, it was funny throughout. It knew exactly what it needed to be. It even like ignoring Cosby entirely, pretending he never did anything bad or pretending he's not in the movie. Even if I did that, I still don't think this movie is as good as Rocky and Bullwinkle. I think it might be more important to some people than Rocky and Bullwinkle, and I think it's a movie that I have a lot of respect for, and it's definitely, both these movies are higher up on the Hall of Victories list. I could see both of them being in like top 10 or top 15, but I gotta give it to Rocky and Bullwinkle. It was harder this time. But I do think there's some growing pains that came with Fat Albert that Rocky and Bullwinkle avoided.
Yeah, see, I have no such hangups. I think it's pretty clearly Rocky and Bullwinkle. I like Fat Albert. I think it's one of the better films we've discussed for this show, but Rocky and Bullwinkle, it is just everything it needs to be. And I feel like Fat Albert, there's some like awkward stuff in there.
Yeah.
Even ignoring Cosby, there's some. It's like an odd movie for sure.
But I like it. I respect it. I obviously don't respect Bill Cosby, but I respect the movie Fat Albert. I respect the great performance Kenan Thompson gave, and I like their take on cartoon character comes to the real world, because I've never seen a movie do it quite like they did, but I also never saw a movie do it quite like Rocky and Bullwinkle did. Like, I think these are two kind of exceptional movies in that fact, because there's so many cartoon character go to the real world movies we could cover on the show, and I think we ironically covered two of the better ones, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
So I like Fat Albert, I like Rocky and Bullwinkle. Rocky and Bullwinkle's a better movie. I think so.
The audience is with us. Rocky and Bullwinkle has the vote, but it is close. It's 59% for Rocky and Bullwinkle, 41% for Fat Albert, which I think is fair. Like, I think these are both pretty decent movies.
Yeah, I had fun. This is a fun pair-up.
No disrespect to anyone who thinks Fat Albert is the better movie.
No, not at all.
But Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle wins.
Hooray!
All right. So, coming up in the month of March this year, we got two very special holidays. One that happens every March. It's of course St. Patrick's Day, and one that only happens in March sometimes. Good old Friday the 13th. And as it happens, both of those holidays have slasher franchises, and both of those slasher franchises have gone to space. So, next time on Hollow Victories, it's Leprechaun 4 in space versus Jason X. This is why I showed you Friday the 13th very recently.
I knew something was coming with that because we talked about it. I didn't know it was going to be this soon. Leprechaun, what's that? Is Leprechaun 2 the really infamous one? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't think so.
What's that movie? It was like something two, where it's like a infamously like bad movie, like a funny bad movie. Troll
You're
2.
thinking of Troll 2.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Leprechaun 2
Okay.
is actually pretty good. It was one of my favorites of the series.
Should we do an Out of the Ring? Because I have no reference for Leprechaun.
The thing with Leprechaun is it is consistently inconsistent. They reset the Leprechaun's lore with every single installment of the franchise. So it really doesn't matter that you haven't seen any of the other ones.
Okay, fair enough.
I also don't think it matters that you haven't seen that much of the Friday the 13th series. I think Jason X will make just as much sense to you.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one now, and I thought the first one was fine. I don't even think it's like, in terms of slashers you've shown me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a lot better than Friday the 13th. Halloween was a lot better than Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So I'm not even a big Friday the 13th guy. I mean, the first movie's fine. It's not bad.
Yeah. So that'll be our matchup for the month of March. The two in-space slasher films.
They're also holiday movies. Happy holidays.
Yeah. Until next time, for my co-host Makal Shadackle, I am Matt Presents. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.